Hello, I'm Star Howard, and I will be studying the poem Bright Star, Would I Were Steadfast as Thou Art by John Keats. But before I get into reading this, I just want to give a little background about John Keats that will help further explain the nature of his poem and why it is the way it is. So, John Keats was known to be one of the most remarkable poet, or have the most remarkable career in poetry as an English poet. He published about 44 poems that were all written in a wide range of different styles, some including a sonnet, which one this is right here, um, a Shakespearean romance, to a Miltonic epic. His style was very unique and original, which gave him lots of pride and and accomplishments, where he was mentioned to have a very distinctive fusion of earnest energy and always would mention some type of conflicting perspective or sections that weren't always alike. So here we go. Bright star, would I were steadfast as thou art, not in lone splendor hung aloft the night, and watching with eternal lids apart, like nature's patient, sleepless eremite, the moving waters at their priest-like task of pure ablution round earth's human shores, or gazing on the new soft-fallen mask of snow upon the mountains and the moors. No, yet still steadfast, still unchangeable, pillowed upon my fair love's ripened breast, to feel forever its soft fall and swell, awake forever in a sweet unrest. Still, still to hear her tender taken breath, and so live ever, or else swoon to death. So, as you can see, this is a mouthful of a bunch of different words. So I decided to break it down if you look here further. So basically, like I said before, it's a sonnet. So that means that there's obviously the octave and the sestet, which is the A, B, B, A, and then the C, D, fun stuff all at the bottom right here as follows. So now deciphering this poem bit by bit, I first tried to identify the words that I didn't know. So as you can see what is highlighted here are the words that I didn't know. I don't know if this is the same for you all, but steadfast, I looked up and I found that it was devout. Thou art is your. Splendor is just basically another way of saying splendid. Eremite is like a religious recluse. And then priest-like. Now, I had to piece this one together kind of in my own brain of thinking how priest, so saying like a priest-like, basically saying someone who would act as similar to a priest would. And then ablution was kind of like washing or cleaning or whatever. Also, I didn't understand what moors was, and moors is a, open land or just a field, as you could say. Then from there, I tried to identify what what a common theme was, or what was the overarching pattern that I would see. And so I noticed from, and also just knowing the rules of how a sonnet works, is that from the octave to the sestet, it kind of has this whole idea about John Keats believing that, or kind of addressing through certain key words, which are double underlined in a different color, watching and sleepless, eremite, and priest-like task, ablution, is how he does not want to be like a star. At first, when I read it the first time through without really deciphering it, I thought that maybe he was just describing the beauty and kind of making the sonnet as something like where it's a man describing nature. But in this case, he's describing how he doesn't want to be a star. He doesn't want to be alone. He doesn't want to be watching something go by, having his lids apart the whole entire time, or he doesn't want to be someone who's a religious recluse who's just by themselves all the time. And he didn't want to have to be this pure, picture perfect man. He just wants to live and just gaze constantly on what is before him. He wants to be a part of it. He wants to be an active participant. Um, so then that's what I realized from there. And then as we go on to the sexes, that's when things kind of get a little interesting, is where he introduces, or actually, wait, before that though, he definitely goes through a little bit of an extended metaphor of how he wants to be, or does not want to be a star. Also, his mood is very, it's like calm, but observant, a little, uh, reflective on what a star is and all that. And then he gives some wonderful imagery of some saying how nature's patient, sleepless eremite, and pure ablution and whatnot, as you can see through here and over here. Um, well, with that being said, now talking about the sextet and everything, um, they or he starts discussing and making it seem that this this steadfast and unchangeable star and everything is how he would want to live his life, and now he's changing and saying that he would want to be a star because this is how he can be stationary and in one place with this woman and sleep or stay on her breast the whole night and kind of just hear her breathe in and out and have his head raised up and down, and it would kind of be a wake forever and a sweet unrest. And so he's saying that just as simple as that would was what he would just need to thrive. That's what keeps him going. And those key identifiers, as I kept reading and looked closely, was when obviously talking about the love's ripening breast, and then hear her showing that it's kind of a switch in the script of what's kind of being discussed, or the theme. Um, like I said before, it's an English on it, but also too, if you look even closer at the title, it you can kind of break it down and realize that he's trying to say, bright star, I wish I was devout as you were. So wishing I was just more dedicated maybe to this relationship that he's talking about, or possibly to be more stationary and still, and maybe not trying to do too much at once. So this is what I discovered from here, and it definitely illustrates a lot about the time period that he was living in, and his type of style as a poet. And so I hope that these highlights and underlines will make sense to you and see what I'm trying to say. And thank you for listening.